And if I've been working for a firm for a while, the odds are that it has accumulated cash anyway. So that is added. I helped to sell a precision engineer 7 million turnover, but the funds that we got from it, we sold it for 6 million.
Welcome to another episode of Investment Banking Decoded. Today we have Mr. Aidan Condie from England. Welcome, Aidan, to this podcast.
Thank you.
Talking about Aidan's experience, he has more than 50 years of experience. He has dealt with operational management, financial management, system design and implementation. His sector is agnostic. And when I was interacting with him on our first call, I got to know that he uses different techniques which he learned from different parts of his industries, different processes, and he combines them together and he helps the companies transform. So he is a specialist of change management. And the further introduction, I will let Aidan speak about himself. Can you please introduce yourself to us?
No, that's a good introduction. Basically, what I do, and this is something I've done my entire career, is to help firms become more profitable. Now, they can use that additional profitability, the additional funds, to pay down debt or to grow. That's normally what happens. They either decide they're going to grow, or they need to. They're being chased by their lenders and they would like to lend to borrow less. My process is the same in each particular case. From an investment banking point of view, the way I would see it is that I help firms, clients that investment bankers have, to become more profitable and to achieve the results that an investment banker would want and that the client would want. So, for example, if they want to grow faster so that they can float, I help them do that. I help them do that because they become more profitable in the first place. They reduce waste, they concentrate on doing what they're doing, and they grow very, very quickly. At which stage they either have a choice of selling to a corporate, which is where the money is, or they can float. So I put them into a position where they are more likely to achieve a float or a business sale. A lot of my projects result in business sales. The result in business sales, when I produce what I produce, one of the byproducts, the work that I do, is that there is a data room. The data room is rock solid and can be confirmed by outside sources. So the data room includes both operational and financial information that stacks up, and there is no debates about it. When I help to sell firms, there is no negotiation.
That's impressive.
No negotiation at all. They either want to buy the firm or they don't. That's it. There's no, oh, what about this figure? What about that figure? People very, very quickly learn that when they have a look at the results that I've got, that it is what it is, and they either want to buy the firm or not. And the sort of thing that a buyer will say, oh, I'll give you so many times cash, or I'll give you so whatever it is. It's usually a multiple of the cash that they've got. And if I've been working for a firm for a while, the odds are that it has accumulated cash anyway. So that is added. So a few years ago, I helped to sell a precision engineer 7 million turnover, but the funds that we got from it, we sold it for 6 million.
That's amazing.
That's because it was making over $500,000 a year in pre-tax profit, which is good. So there's a multiple of that. Plus, in addition, they had a huge amount of cash. because I'd worked with them and I got them to the stage where they could say, well, you're buying cash, so we add that to the amount. So very successful sale to a corporate is the answer. Another example of the sort of thing that I would do, I had a firm that went from 0 to 55 million turnover.
Okay.
6 years.
Got it.
6 years. And basically what it was doing is they'd expanded so quickly that they'd lost control. They employed me to come in and sort out their controls and improve their added value. I doubled their added value, with the result that in a year and a half, they were 106 million.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
54 million to 106 million in 18 months. That was
That's
the
impressive.
striking rate. It was. They were a super firm in the first place, but they had lost control of their added value, and I put in the mechanism that helped them to control added value and to make more money. And that was a highly successful business sale. Page 1 of the Financial Times. It was. So it was good. It was good stuff. And this is what I do. I've done a lot of business sales, and it's a case of getting client firms, from where they are to where they would like to be. When I first meet a client firm, I say, what do you want? Say, we want to try and get there. I tell them what's realistic, where I think I can get them if we work together, and they either accept me to help them or they don't. If they accept me to help them, they will overachieve where they're going is the answer. So that's what I do.
I got this idea, Aidan. This is really beautiful to understand how they make their goals and you help them achieve their goals and actually go beyond that. So, Aidan, at this point of time, I'm intrigued to ask you about your background and how did you get started in the investment banking industry at the first place?
I'm not really an investment banker, but I am ancillary to investment banking. So I'm not a banker. I started when I graduated. I was recruited into the technology function of corporates. So it was a time when corporates were taking highly qualified, highly logical, good degree people into their firms to help them implement new technology. And at that stage, it was nearly all computers. And to a degree, it still is. So what it was is that they recruited me to go into that. And I acquired, to be useful to a corporate, you have to have two things in technology. You have to understand the technology and be a technology expert. So I had time as a computer programmer, wrote a lot of computer programs. And also I had to get the business experience. And I did a series of postgraduate work that gave me the background to the business experience that I needed. So it means that after I've been out in the world for about 3 or 4 years, I could hold an intelligent conversation with an accountant, an operations manager, a sales director, whatever, and would be on the same wavelength as them, but would also have a technology background as well. So I could help them. And what we'd do is I'd work with them to get a solution, a bespoke solution to their problems, or where they wanted to go, what was realistic, what wasn't. And the result is I had 2 wings of business experience, operations and finance. And I worked on finance systems, but mainly on operations systems. And that's what happened. That got me to a stage. And then I decided after 12, almost 15 years actually, in that type of work, in management services within corporates, what I did is I got to, I decided to manage things. So I became a director of firms. I became a director or a senior manager, 3. And what happened was that they got me in because they had a problem, they had an issue. And I became either a finance director or a managing director or whatever it was. These are in corporate situations. And in each of those 3 situations, we overachieved. So I had 2 high growth international groups The groups expanded very, very quickly when I got involved. And there was another, but in each case, it ended up with M&A activity. So what happened with me was that I got involved, got them to where they needed to be, but I got a lot of thanks, a lot of praise, well done, and sometimes some money, but always a P45. So I got a director, got them where they wanted, sold the firm, out of a job. So after 3 of those in 7 years, I decided to do the thing on a serial basis. So that's what I do. I've done that ever since.
Yes. So as I can recall, like 2 minutes ago, you mentioned that you are not an investment banker specifically, but you have suggested, yes, you have advised certain firms and you have helped them get acquired by other firms.
Absolutely.
Right. Totally. Right. So even if you have little experience related to investment banking, but still you can talk a lot about it and you can tell how you helped those firms and how grateful they were once they achieved what they wanted to.
Yeah. Loads of examples. Dozens. Literally dozens.
All right, that's really nice. You also mentioned, Aidan, that you were familiar with the technology at that point of time. And going ahead, now we see artificial intelligence replacing all the older technologies. So how do you see AI shaping the investment banking industry in the current times and in the times to come?
I think one of the things about AI is that it's been around for a long time. I've known about AI and have seen AI develop. It basically came from programmed learning. Is the answer, but I was involved. I've seen AI working since 1972, so it's not a new thing at all. People say, "Oh, it's a new thing." It's the spell checks AI, all these sort of things. They're all AI. So the key thing for investment banking is it allows you to sweep a huge amount of data. Processing data. When I first started computing, working as a programmer, core storage cost a lot of money, chip cost a lot of money, everything costs a lot of money. Now, the costs of core storage, the cost of storage generally is very, very cheap. So people have the ability to sweep up huge amounts of information. I'm involved in a project at the moment, which is a strong AI component. It takes readings, 300 readings continuously from human beings. It's a bio project, and it takes 300 readings perpetually, and it stores all this information and it looks for trends. The capability of handling huge amounts of data. That's the key. And from an investment banker point of view, if you wanted to do an industry sweep and you want to look at all the firms that are doing this thing or all the firms that are doing that thing, it becomes a lot easier as more information becomes public and there's more regulation. More information becomes public, but also you can sweep a huge amount and you can store so much, and you would look for trends. The key thing is to know which trends you're looking for, what is important. So it's getting the intelligence into the artificial bit is the answer. You're looking for trends.
So AI is there from a long period of time. As you mentioned, the first time you came across AI in 1972. I feel that AI has been there with us from a long period of time, from somewhere around 1950s itself. However, now it has been used by almost everyone across all industries, all verticals that they are looking for. Right. So, Aidan, coming to my next question, how do you see the year 2026 and the year 2027 landscape with respect to the merger and acquisitions transactions?
I think what it'll involve is it should increase the amount of work. But having said that, I think it'll become a more technical exercise. I think it'll become more sort of computer oriented. I don't see it as a more banking exercise. I think it'll get more involved in data processing. I also think that it's become a lot more involved in the operational side of life. That's
Okay.
how I see it, because I mean, a lot of the operational statistics that people now have to produce can be extremely useful. You don't need a huge amount of information to suss out where a firm is going or not.
Right. So, as my experience in the investment banking industry talks, I feel that the M&A transactions, once you scout for a particular target company, then the conversations which have to happen, the negotiations which the investment bankers do with the acquired firms and the firms which are selling their businesses, that can't be replaced by AI. What is your take on this?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right.
Right.
I think if you, one of the problems with M&A, say 10 years ago, is that people weren't cute enough to look at a huge amount of data and pick out and target what was actually required. If they use things like SIC code, turnover trends, profit trends, they can find exactly what they want. So
Right.
they can see the exact situation. I don't think people use SIC codes enough. I know that they're not perfect, but I mean, a large slice of information can be gained. You know what a firm is going to do. Say if you're a firm involved in, I don't know, animal health, say, for example, then you should
Right.
be able to sort of use your SIC code to find out similar firms that are involved in maybe not direct animal health, but adjacent to animal health. You can tell which those firms would be. So knowing those SIC codes, you can do a search and you can find out what would be useful. You can find out where they are because you know their addresses, you know their postcodes, blah, 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 you know their trading. And also, you know their past record in terms of growth and in terms of profitability. So with all those things, you can say, well, that firm looks good. They're a size of firm which we could absorb quite nicely. They are fairly successful or not very successful or whatever it is. So that would give you an idea as to what price you would pay for it. And you can say, yes, we could take of that. And they're in an area which is adjacent to where we operate, but would enlarge our scope. So in terms of enlarging the scope of a firm, you can use AI to answer your problems, really, I would say.
Correct. So AI has replaced humans, but there is a limit to which it can do it. After a
Absolutely.
certain point of
Yeah.
time, the human intelligence is required, and the skills that we have, the AI has not been able to replace it so far.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, I don't think that it's a long way from that. I mean, you see people, I mean, you see an article in the newspaper and you say, well, or online, well, you don't get newspapers these days. I don't. But you would say, well, could AI have written this? And the answer is, oh, could it have produced that on a podcast? And the answer is no, it couldn't.
Correct. I agree.
So nothing to be afraid of, something to exploit, but something to exploit, Aaron.
Right, Aidan. So that is very motivational, and what you are talking is very motivational from your experiences. I got to learn a lot. Say there are people who are watching this podcast who want to join the investment banking industry. So what is the piece of advice that you can give to them to help them enter into this industry and do as good as you have been able to do?
Difficult. It depends the circumstance on what you've got. You need an assessment of what you offer. Okay, so I mean, say when I came to be involved in profit improvement work, I came ready-made with certain things. So you have to be very clear about what you are ready-made, what you can do of yourself. And the answer is very simply, it's just a case of finding out who would buy that and why they would buy it. Once you work out, this is what I do, this is what my specialism is, who is going to buy that? Who would pay money to get that expertise? And if you have a good expertise, then you should be able to sell it. You will find somewhere where you can sell it. And it's the same thing in investment banking. It's exactly the same.
Right, Aidan. Right.
You get
Right.
some people who will specialize, and you can get some people who would be a little bit more generalist. I would expect in investment banking, you would get people who have maybe had a particular interest in a particular sector. This is often the case, but not necessarily. It might be size of firm. It might be, oh, I'm used to working with corporates, blah, blah, blah. And then you build up also the infrastructure. You have to build up your own infrastructure so that you can not only contact those people, you know, the people who are likely to be able to help you to sell, you know,
Right.
and to help you to, you know, because a lot of this is the more people you talk to, but the more relevant people you talk to, the better things are, is the answer. You'll make a lot more progress. So you need to build an infrastructure of people and interests and companies.
All right. So you're saying that we need an infrastructure, we need a system. However, I feel that along with the system, we also need experience. Like at this point of time in your life, you have had very broad experience. You can actually do the same deals in a much better way that you used to do, say, 30 years ago.
Oh, changes all the time. I think the big
Right.
thing is never stop learning.
Correct.
Never stop learning. That's the key.
Right. That's
You know?
truly inspirational to hear from you, and you are talking from your experience, and I have got huge regard for you, Aidan. Thank you so much for answering these questions. It was a very good time for me. I love talking to you. Yes,
Likewise.